Bobby, well, first of all, he had a phenomenal jump. Had Bobby started dancing at 7 or 8 years old, as Baryshnikov had, he would have been, that's the kind of dancer that Bobby would have been. But more than the jump with Bobby, I think, was the total joy. When Bobby was dancing, it was like he was just in love with what he was doing, totally unaware of anything except the essence of whatever he was doing.
My name is Robert Barnett, and I came to Atlanta in 1958 as to be a principal dancer and associate director of the Atlanta Ballet, and remained until 1994. Well, I grew up in Washington State and started dancing late, actually. I spent 3 years in the Navy right after high school, and got out of the Navy in 1946 and started studying ballet seriously. I'd studied tap before, but started studying ballet seriously. And studied for a year and 8 months and was taken to Europe with David Lachine to join the original Ballet Russe. And so I spent a year in Europe and then came back and joined the New York City Ballet. And that's when I started working with Mr. Balanchine. I was there from 1949 till 1958 and was a soloist in the company, and was fortunate enough to have some ballets created on me by him, and it was a complete joy working with him and for him. When I first decided I wanted to do Nutcracker, I didn't have a company to do the whole thing. But he had given me a letter when I left the company, and I still have it, with his signature saying that I was allowed to stage any of his ballets that I could remember. So I sort of had carte blanche, and I was the sort of person who stood in the wings every night watching the ballets, and I knew every role. And, whether I danced it or not, I knew it. And then, of course, Virginia danced in the corps de ballet, and so she knew the whole corps de ballet and everything. So we staged it, and he came down here. And I know you heard of Ann Burton. She was 13 years old, and he came down just before we did it and rehearsed the two of us in it. And of course, I had staged it, and he couldn't believe that I remembered it, because I never danced at New York City Ballet. And the wonderful thing is he never charged me for any of them.
I remember when my parents saw me after the first time they'd seen the pas, my father, I assumed, would compliment me in some traditional way. But he looked at me with this amazed expression, and his first words were, "That young man can literally fly through the air." Such were Bobby's grand jetés. And he had fantastic beats, and he could turn and pirouette forever. A world of magic opened in my life as I danced the Sugar Plum Fairy with Robert Barnett, the most charming cavalier you can imagine.
Well, my vision is to entertain and to educate, because I thought in order for the company to grow the audience, we had to educate the audience. We had to not only, and that's why I did such a varied repertoire. I brought in new choreographers, but I wanted to give the audience story ballets. I wanted to educate them to contemporary ballet, to modern ballet, to romantic ballet, all of them. And so we tried to do very varied programs. So there was something for everyone on the program, or at least in the season. I decided, we're dancing every place else but in our home city. Nobody knows us here. And we might do 1 or 2 seasons here, but it was not like being here and having this as our home. So that's when we started developing the staff, getting people that were more serious on the board of directors. Some of the people that were on the board came in as staff in the development department, And that's when the staff structure started to build.
Okay, we're at the Spring Street School, and we're walking down the concrete, metal-edged steps. And all of a sudden, I started to fall. And before I knew it, Bobby had spun around, picked me up, and put me down. And for once in my life, I felt like a prima ballerina. And that's my favorite Bobby story, and it is. I love Bobby dearly, but somehow that just stands out in my memory.
I am so thrilled to be here and to be honoring Bobby Barnett and the Atlanta Ballet honoring Bobby Barnett. Bobby, you've always been such an amazing mentor to me. And throughout the years and the years I was in the company, you gave me many challenging things that I never thought I could do. And first and foremost, thank you for convincing me not to quit ballet, to quit the profession. I know that I came to you from Boston Ballet and New York and saying I was going to quit and go to FIT, and you said, "Oh, Sharon, just do one nutcracker for me," and here I am. And thank you so much, and thank you for everything you have given to the Atlanta Ballet and what you have done to make the Atlanta Ballet what it is today. We truly, truly love and adore you. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah, I would just like to say a huge thanks to Bobby for really introducing us to dance. The kids in the school at that time, we were exposed to the company and what it meant to be in a ballet company. And you know, he made it possible for a lot of the kids in the school to fall in love with dance and to aspire to be company members and go on to do, you know, bigger and better things on a professional level.
When I first came to Atlanta, the budget for the Atlanta Ballet, or for the Atlanta Civic Ballet, was $16,000. When I left in 1994, it was $4,600,000.
Mr. Barnett, thank you for the wonderful years of enchantment in performing with you. And one more time, a rose.